Hey, what's up guys, Sir Emanon here, and welcome to another feature match commentary on the channel today. So this is going to be another top 16 match from my online Discord tournament, and in case you guys did miss the previous video which showcased the first top 16 match, on screen for you guys right now here is going to be the top 16 deck breakdown. And additionally, if you guys do want to keep up with the bracket at home just to follow along, here is going to be that for you guys on screen right here. And we're simply going to be going down the list in order just to make things a lot simpler and easier to track. But this match is going to be between Tifose on Paleozoic Frogs versus Kinda Sleepy on Drytron. And as usual, if you guys do want to play in the next tournament, go ahead and check out the link to the Discord server in the description box below. But let's go ahead and get started here without any further ado. So it looks like we're going to have the Drytron player winning the RPS, and he's going to choose to go first. Nothing too shocking there. Both players have 40 cards, and the opening hand for Drytron going first is going to be Natasha, Zeta, Benton, Fafnir, and Alpha. So this hand is very strong, has 3 Drytron names and Benton access, so is able to put up the board very easily and have additional follow-ups for next turn. So very solid. And then the opening hand for Paleozoic going second is going to be Ash, Canadia, Dynamiscus, Fury of Karyoshin, and Paw of Desires. So this is the one that searches Torrential Tribute and also allows you to have some protection for your water monsters from card effect destruction, which is pretty decent. Has a hand trap, but it's not going to be enough to stop this hand because this hand is, quite frankly, just too good. So probably going to just be full combo no matter what, regardless of when he drops the Ash. So he's going to start with a copy of Alpha, tribute away Benton, going to actually Ash right here. Benton going to use the effect to search Manju. And then going to activate Fafnir, that's going to grab a copy of Nova from deck. And then going to activate Manju's effect after normal summoning it, and then grab another copy of Benton. And then from here, going to Zeta tribute Benton, that's going to search for the Meteonus Drytron. And then Benton triggers as well for the last copy of Benton here. And then at this point, he's going to use Nova, that's going to summon Gamma from deck. And then going to link those two up. Maybe not. Going to link away the Gamma and the Manju instead for the Union Carrier, I would imagine. Yep. And then Union Carrier effect is going to equip Dawn Knight from deck. And then he's going to activate Meteonus Drytron. That's going to tribute away the 2000 tap point Union Carrier, summon back the Benton from graveyard, and then Dawn Knight triggers. So that's going to send the Delta. And then from here, Meteonus is going to add itself back by reducing the attack value of Zeta. And then Gamma is going to tribute away the Benton in hand. That's going to summon itself as well as the Alpha back. And then Benton triggers yet again. That's going to search for Head of Ultimatus. And then from here, going to link those two away for a copy of IP Masquerena. And then Delta is going to tribute away Benton, summon itself, and then reveal the Meteonus to draw. The draw is going to be another copy of Alpha. And then going to add Ava off of the Benton activation right here. And then going to link everything here away into a copy of Appaloosa. And then going to activate Meteonus, that's going to tribute Alpha, and then summon out Ultimatus right here. And then pass. So he chose not to go for the Fafnir interruption by leaving a copy of a Drytron on board. So he doesn't have that right there, but he does have, 3 Appaloosa negations plus potentially 4 disruptions off this Ultimatus. So it's going to be tough unless if he draws specifically like a Solemn Strike and then like a way to kind of board wipe, which granted he does have Torrential access, but it would have been better to just directly draw the Torrential right here. But he's going to drop... Oh, never mind. He just directly draws Torrential right now. I will say that generally I don't watch the top 16, or top cut rather, matches before I feature them, just to leave myself a little bit in suspense. I typically tend to pick out the Swiss matches for obvious reasons since I want to go through them. But I'm featuring all the top cut matches anyways, so I might as well just leave myself a little bit in suspense. But this is a pretty decent top deck. But he's just going to choose to scoop it up anyways, deciding not to try and play past the Ultimateness right there. Or yeah, he's not able to, which makes a lot of sense because it was full combo and it was going to be a lot of follow-ups. So moving on to game 2, looks like we're going to have Paleozoic Frogs go first. If you guys are enjoying this video, definitely be sure to like the video and subscribe if you're new here and want to see more commentary similar to this style. But the opening hand for Paleozoic Frogs going first this time around is going to be Judgment, Ash, Swap Frog, Dupe Frog, and Torrential. So really good. Has Swap Frog and a Water, so that's instant Toad access. Has Judgment to protect from side deck cards, which is kind of the bane of this deck's existence at times. And then Torrential as well, just in case things go really badly. So overall, very solid. And then the opening hand for Drytron going second is going to be Ultimatus, Alpha, Ghost Bell, Benton, and then Manju. So has a hand trap, which is good against Ronin Totem, if not for the fact that this hand can actually play through it, depending on which cards he chooses to send off Swap Frog. But the rest of the hand also looks quite good. Has, Drytron name plus Benton, obviously. Very good. So going to normal summon Swap Frog, use the effect that's going to send Rodent Toad into graveyard, and then going to activate Swap Frog to bounce itself back to hand, and then special summon it by pitching the Dupe Frog. Swap Frog also gets to send another copy of Swap Frog right here. So he is choosing to send a second Frog instead of a second Rodent Toad, which does effectively play around this Ghost Spell right here. So he's going to banish Dupe Frog. That's going to attempt to activate Rodent Toad, going to chain Ghost Spell to that, which doesn't really matter because he's going to do it again by banishing the Swap Frog this time around. And then going to overlay for Toad, and then set Judgment, set Torrential, and then pass. This is definitely solid for interruptions for sure. The top deck is going to be another copy of Ghost Spell. That is definitely not ideal. Presumably this is in for cards potentially like Cycle Reader or like DD Crow, just stuff that disrupts the graveyard in terms of banishing, simply since those cards are really good against this deck, but not going to be super useful here. Standby phase, Toad's going to activate detaching the Swap Frog. That's going to summon out a Dupe from deck. And then going to move to main phase. He's going to activate Alpha. That's going to tribute away Ben 10. And then going to actually use Toad. And then Ben 10 is going to be ashed. So yeah, he doesn't get the window to use both Ash and Toad since Sleepy is turn player. So it'll be Ben 10 Chainlink 1. And then either he uses the trigger effect of Toad or he uses the quick effect of Ash Blossom to respond to the Ben 10. So you gotta pick one or the other. And in this case, probably worth it to try and stop the Ben 10 because you don't really know what's in the hand. Everything's unknown. So the normal summon is going to be Manju. That is going to actually be Judgmented right here. So really not trying to deal with any Meteonis shenanigans or just additional Fairy access via Ben 10 or otherwise. But that is going to be the end of the turn. So the top deck for Paleo Frog is going to be a copy of Canadia. So he has Ronin still to be able to make another copy of Toad. Then again, there is a Ghost Spell here. So both players kind of running very low in resources. So he's going to banish Swap Frog. That's going to be met with Ghost Spell, obviously for the Ronin Toad. And then going to set the Canadian pass. The top deck is going to be Herald of Orange Light, which is not the most useful here. Definitely not. Going to go to main phase, activate Alpha, tribute away Ultimateness. That's going to summon itself, and then search for a Ritual monster. That's going to be Ben 10. And it's still not really that good for Drytron. I mean, even like normal summoning Herald of Orange Light and then going for Union Carry doesn't really do anything here. Only working with one Drytron name is definitely rough in a spot like this. Yeah, instead he's going to link away for Link Rebo. And then, okay, so he's going to be using Torrential Tribute on the summon of Link Rebo and then trigger Dupe Frog here. Which, for once, doesn't actually miss timing since that was the last thing to happen. So Swap Frog going to be added to hand. And then going to pass turn. The top deck's going to be another copy of Canadia, so not too bad for sure. He's definitely going to be able to put up Toad depending on what happens to the Swap Frog here, actually. Depends on if Orange Light is expended. So he's going to banish Dupe Frog to summon out Rodent Toad. And there's actually the Orange Light. So that is looking pretty good for Paleo Frog. Because now we can just normal summon swap, send another Frog, and then make Toad anyway. And that's just going to be the end of the game. Because he's going to have multiple interruptions for whatever the top deck happens to be. So Swap Frog going to be normal summon, that's going to send Dupe. And then that's going to be a scoop for Drytron. Yeah, 3 is a standard ratio for Dupe Frog, absolutely, in a Paleo Frog. But we're going to now move into game number 3 here, where Drytron's going to be going first again. Just want to quickly, before we get started in game number 3, shout out my patrons as usual. So thank you guys for supporting the channel. The long-form and consistent content has been possible thanks to you guys. And if you are interested in supporting the Patreon, definitely go ahead and check out in the description box below as well. But we're going to move into game 3 here, where the opening hand for Drytron going first is going to be Double Prep, Call by the Grave, Alpha, and Nova. Hand is very strong, multiple ways to access Ben 10, multiple Drytron names, and Call by the Grave to have some insurance. So super, super solid hand. And then the opening hand going second for Paleo Frog is going to be Canadia, Sangan, Ronin Totem, Nibiru, and Desires. So I guess this is a way to search Swap Frog just a little bit faster than you normally would be able to. And also, actually, in this kind of hand, it's actually not too bad since you can just go, obviously, normal Sangan, make Almirage, search for your Swap Frog, and then make Toad in addition to that as well, since you have a water monster already. So definitely interesting choice to see. But he has Nibiru, which is going to be good depending on how Drytron plays out this turn. It could be effective, it could not be. So he's going to activate Prep, that's going to search for Ben 10. And then he's going to activate Alpha, that's going to tribute away Ben 10, and then summon itself by searching Ben 10. Or rather, summon itself and then search Ben 10. And then Benton triggers in graveyard to add Orange Light to hand. And then from here, going to Nova for a copy of Zeta. And then going to link those off for a copy of Union Carrier. And then Zeta going to tribute away Benton, that's going to summon itself. And then add Meteonis. And then Benton triggers here to grab a copy of Ava, excuse me. And then going to Union Carrier, going to target itself, equip Dawn Knight, and then going to go Meteonis here, tribute away the Carrier, bring back the Benton, and then Dawn Knight triggers here to send a copy of Gamma. And then he's going to use Prep, that's going to add back the Meteonis, as well as add from deck to hand a copy of Benton. And then from here, going to Gamma, tribute away the Benton on field, that's going to summon itself, and not the Carrier, but that's got to be a misclick, right? Yeah, that's a misclick. So yeah, gonna summon back Alpha, and then the Benton added Ultimateness off that. And then from here, going to activate Meteonis Drytron, Chain Nibiru, but he has Orange Light. We saw him add a copy of Orange Light and Ava, so it was pretty apparent that was gonna happen. He could also even just send away the Ultimateness to negate it. Yeah, and then summon the Ultimateness straight back from the graveyard. And that way he gets to preserve his Ava. And he's going to use Meteonis to add itself back. And then overlay for a copy of a Summon Nightingale. Pretty interesting to go into that instead of something like Mirage Lights. So maybe he's not playing it. IP makes sense not to make here since it's not really going to be live when you have Ultimateness. For the most part, unless you run out of negations. But yeah, pretty interesting that he went for this instead. But going to set Call by the Grave and then pass. The top deck is going to be Ash for turn, which would have been pretty decent in tandem with the Nibiru last turn. Not sure it would have been turn ending, but it definitely would have ciphered the play a little bit more. But it's going to be definitely an uphill battle for Paleofrog. He's going to normal summon Sangan, and then going to go to battle phase, attacking a Assemble Nightingale. Chooses not to actually use the effect, which is pretty noteworthy. And that actually makes sense, given the fact that, actually I'm trying to think of why that might have been the case. Not entirely sure. Actually, if you guys have any idea why he chose not to use Assemble Nightingale, definitely let me know. But in any case, Sangan is going to be linked away main phase 2 for a copy of Almirage, and then Sangan going to trigger for a copy of Swap Frog, and then he's going to activate Desires next. That is going to banish 10, and then be negated by the copy of Ultimateness here. And then Ava triggers, that's going to banish 2. That's going to be met with Ash, but then going to chain Ultimateness to that. And then going to add Orange Light and then Petit Angel off of the Ava. And then he's going to set Canadian Pass, not going to commit to the Swap Frog or Ronin Totem. Or most of the Swap Frog, just because Ultimateness can negate the summon, and that would just not be good. The top deck, I believe there was Cosmic Cyclone, so that just adds insult to injury. Gonna activate Cosmic, gonna chain Canadian to that to try and book the Ultimateness. You just let that go. Or chooses to negate it. I wonder what he was trying to play around there. Like, is there anything you can activate in the window where Ultimateness is face down from the hand to stop this? Maybe like Psycho Reader, I guess? It would have to be like a last card in hand Psycho Reader. Which would have meant he would have had to draw it for turn, since he would use Psycho Reader last turn if he drew it. I probably would have let it go, to be honest. Because you have Call by the Grave as well if you are trying to stop like a hand trap in a window where this is face down. I mean, it's like a very small thing because he's going to probably win this game anyways, but just kind of like nitpicking, honestly. Going to go for normal summon Petit Angel and then grab Natasha. It's always good to kind of look at the small things, though, because they can add up in the long term. Or in other games in general. But going to activate Alpha in Graveyard, tribute away the Natasha, summon itself, and then going to Meteonis back the Benten, and then going to Zeta, tribute away Benten, and then Benten searches for a copy of Manju, and going to add back Meteonis, and then Meteonis going to summon Natasha, and then going to gain 1,000 life points, and then going to Gamma, tribute away Natasha, summon itself, and then another Drytron name, and then going to go into a copy of Masquerena. All right, so he does play Masquerena. I do agree that it wasn't going to really do a whole lot if he just made it last turn, but yeah. Overall, I think it's not really going to be consequential. Going to Natasha, steal the Yamirage, and then you can just make Boar Sword after getting more life points. And that is going to be the end of the game. So Drytron going to win this one 2-1. Honestly, there was not a ton of back and forth in any of those games, really. I guess in game 2 there was a little bit, but I mean that's just kind of how it went. Is that like if you don't have the right responses and the player goes first opens well enough, that's going to be usually enough to just carry them for the entire game. But that is going to be Drytron now, moving into the top 8 here. So that's going to be it for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like as well as any thoughts or feedback in the comments. Subscribe for more informative and competitive Yu-Gi-Oh content. If you want to, you can follow me on all social media platforms or support me with the links in the description box as usual. And until next time, I'll catch you in the next video. See you guys.